Unfortunately, I love construction businesses and I don't want them to go bust. So today I'm going to go through the three types that for me never seem to last. Over the last 10 or 15 years, I've seen what seemingly look like really good construction businesses just go bust overnight. And when you assess it and you look back with hindsight, there's three types of firms that just never seem to last. So today we're going to go through them and make sure you don't end up like one of them. Number one is the big spender, Champagne Charlie. These are the easiest to spot out of all three. It's very visible. New vans, new watches, new offices. We all know in construction you can have a good job, make a little bit of money on it, but that's not generally how things go. You're never that far away from a bad job. You need to obviously put some more on your back, when work gets tight and you're taking on jobs that aren't really that profitable. For me, the big spender is just the worst type because they're brilliant at what they do. They know how to deliver a job. It's the overhead and the long term thinking that they lack, and just assuming everything's going to be the same. Oh, this is easy. We'll just keep going. The clients are going to keep paying us. They're going to keep giving us work. And that's just not the case. There's no shortage of examples of contractors falling out with clients. It happens every day. There's an entire legal system built around it. So this is the easy one, really. It's very visual. It's easy to sort of be jealous of them sort of other trades when you're out on site. A year or so later, you've gone. When you speak to them, it was always someone else's fault or, a bad client. And there was never any sustainability built into that business anyway. Number two is one big customer. This is such an easy trap to get caught into because if you've got one big client who gives you really good work, pays you on time, there's very little hassle, it's so easy to just go, actually, you know what? My life's easy. We're making good money. Everyone's happy. Why would I want to work with someone else? And, I get it. But that's just not sustainable because if anything happens to that client, they get bought out or someone leaves and quits the job, all of a sudden you've got an overhead which is being paid essentially by one person. And when that ends, there's nothing else that you can fall back on that's going to pay the bills. So I'm not saying to get rid of that customer or far from it. You don't want more than a third of your revenue with one client. Even that's really high. You want to really keep it somewhere between 10 or 15%, but you want to have at least two thirds with someone else. So if anything happens with that client, yeah, you might be making loads of money with the rest of your client base, but it's paying your overhead and you're sustainable. To fall into that trap of one client who's paying and it keeps it easy, I get it, but it's just not going to last. The last one is the micromanager. Again, these people can actually run really good businesses day to day because every screw is getting counted, every penny's getting chased, everything's being written down and monitored. So although being a micromanager is actually quite profitable, it's just not sustainable long term. You have to start delegating tasks so that you're not the bottleneck. As soon as you go on holiday, if the business just stops or you take a day off, nothing functions, that's not really a real business. It's just a profitable job. I know it can be hard to let things go. And look, everyone starts out as the micromanager generally, but you've got to build in a system and build trust with a team where you can say, right, at least on a site level, I'm willing to give responsibility to a foreman or a supervisor so that if I can't get there for a few hours or a couple of days, the site doesn't just stop as soon as there's an issue. Again, easy to fall into the trap of a micromanager, but it's just not sustainable. Them three things are probably in order, really. The big spender normally goes first because he gets it with a bad job or a bad client and there's no money in the business essentially when things get tough. Mr. One customer, that I've actually seen examples of that which have lasted years, like genuinely like 5, 10 years. So that does obviously take a little bit longer. And if you're putting the money aside while you are just working for one client, again, it can help you when things do get a bit tough. That's normally the second. And then third, again, that can be sustainable for a period of 5 or 10 years, but that person is absolutely burnt out day to day because they're just doing everything. And look, they're coming from a good place. Could be people watching this who think, you know what, that's me. I do everything and I can't let go, but it's just not sustainable. It doesn't last. And, I just can't recommend it. And when you do see people who do learn to delegate and who do, eventually set up teams, they just wish they'd done it years earlier. So that's something to take away, really. If you feel you can't delegate, that's something you've got to pass on because it's just going to help you so much to be sustainable down the line. So to avoid falling into these traps, keep things tight even when things are going well and start building up some reserves. Never rely on one client. Make sure you're building towards spreading your revenue amongst at least 7 to 10 clients. And the last one, you've got to train and learn to trust your team because, if you want to go fast, obviously go by yourself. But if you want to go far, go on a team. Bit of a different one today, but I want something that I feel is a bit more relatable. If you think we can help you with any problems you've got at the moment, let us know in the comments or email us, and we'll try and get back to you as quickly as we can. Thanks for watching. I hope this one helped. And if you want any more tips, we've got more in this video here. Thanks. Bye.